Today we are going to be talking about the PECRON E3600LFP portable power station. This thing is absolutely amazing, guys. I set up this faux camping area back here to test it out in a controlled situation before I take it out in the field, and the results are mind-blowing. I tested it out overnight using every single thing that I would on a real camping trip, and for you to see that and see the results, we need to go back to yesterday. So today I am in my workshop to do a controlled test on the PECRON E3600LFP generator. Now I'm doing this in here because I wanted to test it out before I actually took it out in the field camping. I do want to point out first that I do have the extra battery on the bottom here, but it is not connected. The only thing I'm going to be testing right now is this one on the top, the main unit. Now before I set this up, I did do multiple tests at home with individual things like TVs and fans, my CPAP, just anything that would need to be plugged in. I wanted to see what kind of power it was pulling from the unit and how long it would run. But the purpose of this test today and setting up all this stuff as if I am actually out camping is to test this unit and see if it will actually power everything that I want it to power, recharge everything I need it to recharge, and see how much power it takes to do that. When I bought this unit, I wanted something that could give me as much power as I need for 3 to 5, maybe even a few more days than that. Now I am going to give you a basic rundown, show you the different plugs on there, but I'm not really a text and specs guy when it comes to electronics, so I'm going to leave that up to the multiple other videos that you can find right here on YouTube. And if that's what you're looking for, I highly recommend a video by the Solar Lab. But for now, let's go ahead and take a quick look at this unit here. I'm going to show you a little bit about what it has on here. We've got 4 regular plugs here like you would find in your household. And then over here we have 3 of each of the regular USB and the USB-C. Okay, there's 2 USB-Cs and 4 regular USBs. And honestly, those are the only plugs we are going to be using right now. As you can see, there are several other things on here, including this, which is pretty amazing. This is a 30 amp plug if you wanted to plug in an RV. Like I said, though, you can go on over to the Solar Lab and he explains every single thing about this. On the top, we have 2 spaces for wireless phone charging. This whole unit will charge by solar, but I use the wall. You just plug it in right here. It comes with the cord that you need, and it charges it up very fast. To switch this on, you press the DC on off, hold it there for a few seconds, and that turns on. In order to use these plugs down here, you have to hit the AC on off. And there that turns on. As you can see right now, we are at 100% battery. And again, that's just the top unit here. I do not have the bottom one plugged in. But with nothing plugged in here, we are not pulling any watts. And we have 55, almost 56 hours of power on there. So let's go through and I'll show you everything that I want to be able to power during my camping trip. First, on the outside here, on each side, I have one of these little lights. These are actually rechargeable. As we step inside the tent here, you can see that I have 3 more of those hanging from the ceiling. Over here, I have a few things like my laptop, I have my TV, I have the internet, and I have a fan. So we're going to plug in our main cord right here. That's just an extension cord that goes back around there. Inside the tent, it follows the wall around, and over here I have it plugged into a power strip. So you can see right now our internet is starting to get power. It's starting to blink. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the fan just so you see that that is working. We got our TV here. I'll go ahead and turn on. There we go. We got that. And we have the laptop. So starting from this point, again, you can see we're at 100%. And if we were to run all that stuff constantly, it would supposedly last us about 20 hours. But what you got to keep in mind is that this stuff is not going to be running constantly. I mean, you're not going to turn on the TV first thing in the morning and leave it on for 12 hours. I'm not going to leave my laptop plugged in and running for 12 hours. These lights only need to be recharged when they die out. The same with my phone. The fan, I honestly only have in here right now to take place of my CPAP through the night, because I'm not actually going to be staying here tonight. I just have all this set up so I can go through all the motions and use everything that I would need on a camping trip. Obviously, when I go to bed at night and I'm camping, I'm just going to unplug everything and turn it off. Except my CPAP, and that's where the fan comes in. The fan draws a little bit more wattage than my CPAP, so when I leave here tonight, I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to let it run all through the night. So if you look at this right now, like I said, I'm not really a techs and specs guy, but you can see that it's pulling 125 watts right now to run everything that is plugged in. So we can go ahead and turn off the fan. The router is the only thing that's really going to be plugged in for the most amount of time. The TV and the laptop are only going to be plugged in periodically while I'm using them, but I do want to point this out. I noticed that you can see the TV is only on a 5% charge right now. This particular TV actually charges up, and you can use it for 3 hours on its own charge. But what I noticed is that it takes longer and more power to recharge that whole TV than just to get it up to 100% and leave it plugged in and use it at 100% when I want to watch. This TV pulls around 60 to 70 watts while it's charging. The closer it gets to 100, the farther that goes down, and while it is at 100 and plugged in and running, it's only pulling about 20 to 24 watts. And it's the same with the laptop. You can see right here that we do not have a full charge on the laptop right now. So it's pulling more power right now just to charge the laptop, but once it's charged, it will pull less. If we look at the panel right now, you can see that it's already gone down to 106 that it's pulling because we turned off that fan, and the amount of time it's going to last has gone up to 25 hours. So obviously, the less you use it, the longer it's going to last. And when I unplug that laptop, that drops way down to 62 watts that it's pulling right now to charge the TV and run the internet. And the usage has jumped up to 39.5 hours. So I went ahead and turned off the lights and just turned on my little lights inside the tent and the two that I have outside. Because like I said, I only want to be using power that I would be using as if I were really camping. So you can see everything going in here right now. The laptop is back plugged in and charging. We got the internet going, the fan is off, the TV is charging, and we have these three lights on up here. So right now it is Monday at 2:10 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and mark down the time as 2 o'clock p.m. that we started this test. And I will check in periodically, let you guys know how it's going, and by the end of this video, you will know just how reliable this unit is. I do also want to say that I'm not going to be doing any cooking while I'm in here pretending to be camping, because nothing that I use to cook in the tent requires electricity, and this is all about testing the electrical supply. Just for the heck of it though, I did test this unit out with a coffee pot at home, an electrical coffee pot, because I wanted to see what it would pull, and it was absolutely insane. It was pulling like 800 watts just to make one pot of coffee. So that will not be happening while I'm camping. I'll make my coffee on my stove. So my phone is at 38% right now. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of its case and put it on top of here on the wireless charger, let that charge up while I kind of kick back, watch a little bit of TV. So we are 1 hour in here. You can see that we are down to 94%. We're still pulling 63 watts there because that TV is still charging. That probably has another 2 hours before it's fully charged. The only thing plugged in right now is that TV and the internet over there. Laptop is fully charged. I just took my phone off the charger here and it is at 60%, and then I did another little test. I went ahead and plugged in my phone to the USB charger just to see how that would charge it, and it actually charges faster on that than it does up here. All these little power-saving details are what's going to make that last the longest it possibly can. Alright, so it is 5:30 now. As you can see, we still have the test going on. We still have the same things plugged in. We got the internet over there. We got the TV going. The TV now is 100% charged. And I'll show you here how the wattage that's going out is now down to 30, because that's what happens when that TV is fully charged. We've also jumped up to 48 hours of available power right there. You can see we are down to 85% because that took a lot of the battery just to charge the TV. But now that the TV is on 100%, it just takes barely anything out of there. I unplugged the laptop at about 3 o'clock, I believe. But yeah, the TV and the internet has been running since 2 o'clock, so that's 3.5 hours so far. We're down to 85%. And like I said, now that that TV is charged up completely, it's pulling a lot less power, so that 85%, it's going to take a while to even go down to 80% now. 3.5 hours to go down to 85, and it'll probably take another 4 hours or so before it's even down to 80. I've just been kicking back over here watching movies. I watched Pleasantville. I watched some YouTube videos for a while. I got Netflix on right now. I think I'm actually going to let the TV run, and I'm going to leave the internet plugged in while I go and grab something to eat at home, run a couple of errands. I'm going to leave the lights on here as well. I can see one of them's already gone out. That must not have been charged up very much before we even started this. But that's all right, because I want to plug them in and let them charge overnight as well. I'm going to go ahead and put a playlist on YouTube here so that it will run constantly. There we go. We got my channel on there. Let's do the luxury tent reviews. And we're going to play all. That way that will continue to play while I'm out getting some to eat. Cootie Koala 7 tent right there. That is an awesome tent. And you know what? Let's just take a minute to appreciate this tent here. The Hexagon. I mean, look how awesome this thing looks. It is absolutely enormous inside. We got the lights hanging from the ceiling, the TV, everything that you guys have already seen. I absolutely love this tent. And look how cool it looks from the outside. That is just totally awesome. Makes me wish I was at a campground right now. Anyway, okay, yeah, we're gonna leave the TV on, the internet plugged in, the lights on. This is what we're looking at right here, and in one shake of a rattler's tail, I'll be right back. So it is 8:06 right now. I just got back to my workshop here. So it's been almost 3 hours since we left our tent. You can see we still have the YouTube playlist playing on the TV there. And let's take a look at this. Yeah, just now we're down to 79%. We're still pulling 31 watts on there. We got 44 hours of power left. Now, although these lights on the outside are still burning bright, we're going to take those down in a second and plug them into charge, as well as all 3 of these up here. But let's go ahead and turn off the TV for now. So everything is off in there except for the router right now. And right here you can see where it's not pulling any kind of wattage right now. So that router, that takes nothing to run that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light here for a minute and show you the charger I'm going to use for the lanterns. Now, I picked this up on Amazon. You can see that it has space for 10 USB plugs. We have 5 little lanterns to charge. So I'm just going to put 5 of those in place. We'll bring this over here and plug it into our PECRON. So there we go. We got all 5 of those plugged into charge. You can see that we are pulling 20 watts to do that, 21. Now, if I really were camping in here tonight, I wouldn't be going to bed at 8:30, and I more than likely wouldn't be charging those lights until tomorrow when it was daylight, so that I could use the rest of the power to light the tent for the rest of the night that I was up. If I were actually camping, I'd probably have the TV on longer. I'd probably be sitting here on my laptop for a little bit, either or, but I wouldn't be going to bed for probably another 2-3 hours. But we have run the TV for much longer than I usually would. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fan on here. Get that started. That will simulate my CPAP, which I would be using as I sleep all night. And that's pulling another 20-21 watts right now with that turned on. So turning the fan on 3 hours early will use power for a little while, which would be the power I would be using to watch TV. And then that will run all night using a little bit more power than my CPAP actually would use through the night. So I think that pretty fairly will cover the power that I would be using from this time till I go to bed, and then through the night using that CPAP. As this stands right now, we're pulling 42 watts. It says we've got 43 hours of power. Once these completely charge, that 42 will drop down, maybe even to about 20. That'll be in a couple of hours here. I'm going to go ahead and go home, leave this stuff running here, and then I'll come back in the morning and we will see where we stand with this. But I have no doubt, based on the results already, that this thing would last at least 3 to 4 days, just used the way that I'm already using it. And don't forget, I have a second battery down there that doubles the power that I have with this. So I think the whole thing together could give me power for up to a week if I need it. So for you guys, I'll be back in just a second, and it will be morning for me. I'm going to shut down the lights in here, go ahead home, get a good night's rest, and be back in the morning to see how this is going. Okay, next morning, let's see how we're rolling here. Get the lights on. It is actually 10 a.m. right now. I left this stuff running a little bit longer than what I wanted to. I just didn't get out of the house early enough this morning. But as you can see, we still have the fan going. We still have the lights on. And let's take a look at what's going on down here. We are down to 25, 26 watts, okay, 24 that it's pulling right now from the fan. As I said last night, as soon as these are charged, it stops pulling from them. So we're pulling 24, 25 watts right now. We're down to 48%, so just under half. And with that fan still plugged in, it says that we have almost 27 hours of power left on here. So remember, we started this yesterday at 2 p.m. It is 10 a.m. now. That means that this thing has been running constantly for 18 hours. We haven't given it any kind of a break. That's 18 hours charging lights, laptops, my phone, running the TV, running the fan, running the Wi-Fi. And that brought us down to 48%. That is just under half of the power of only the main unit here. And remember, I do have a secondary battery that gives us double the power. And remember, we charged that TV from 0, so it took at least double the power to get that thing charged up to 100% before the power draw dropped down. We charged my laptop from halfway, my phone from under halfway, and we ran everything so much longer than I ever would if I were actually out camping. So to have 48% left of this battery right now is absolutely amazing. Probably the top well-known brand costs twice as much as this. And I've seen people plug in the same TV that I have, and in the next shot, they're down to 53%. I mean, almost immediately. It's absolutely nuts. And that's why I did my research before I bought this thing. And this, in my opinion, without testing out anything else, just by watching the Solar Lab and plenty of other videos to do my research, this one is the best one you're going to get your hands on. Easily 2 days of camping running the crap out of it. I can say you could make this thing last a week if you needed to, and with that extra battery, man, you could probably go 10 days. I'm going to plug in the bottom battery right now and see what that jumps up to. Look at this. That immediately jumps up to 74% with 82.5 hours of available power. They always have the top main unit on sale for this complete package right here. The main unit, the extra battery, and the little cart that it rolls in on with convenient bags on the back and a handle that pulls up to roll it. I paid $2,324.65. Right now you can get the top unit for $1,400. In my opinion, it is well worth the money and a fraction of the price from what you'd pay for others that are not as good.